That fight has me like second guessing how well Islam's going to do. Now, I think Islam's going to win, but and the reason why I say that is because look, not only am I just biased because he's an AKA guy, but I want you guys to think about this. JDM said it himself. People think that he's going to take me down and submit me. And if you're saying that, then whether you're saying it just in like, hey, that's what people think, you've thought it yourself. And so he's going to be extremely focused on stopping, Islam's takedowns. But they're not going to be the same type of takedowns that Bilal shoots. They're not going to be the same type of takedowns that Gilbert Burns shoots. They're going to be a little bit more effortless. They're going to be a little bit more, in the clinch inside a phone booth.
A major warning from one of MMA's most respected coaches, bold predictions from UFC analysts, and everything you need to know about the highly anticipated UFC 322 welterweight title fight. UFC 322 is shaping up to be one of the biggest cards of the year, headlined by Islam Makhachev's ambitious move up to welterweight to challenge champion Jack Della Maddalena. But recent comments from both camps suggest this fight might be closer than many expected. Let's dive right in.
I think this week, and he broke down that he believes Islam's stand-up is a little bit easier to deal with than Bilal's because Islam has more of a traditional style for his stand-up. Do you feel like people are kind of missing some of the X factors that Islam brings with his striking?
If he's saying that, I hope that he goes in believing that, because when he gets in there with Islam, you're going to find out a whole different story because I'm sorry, they're completely different. And by no means is Islam an easy for anybody on the stand-up. No, so any MMA fighter that's a striker, that's not going to have an easy time with him. I've been with this kid like going on 11 years of watching him just destroy everybody on the stand-up, guys that are much better stand-up than him, and he still destroys them. So, no. Don't go by what you see. When you get in there with that man, it's a whole different ballgame.
We start tonight with breaking news from the Makhachev camp. Legendary coach Javier Mendez has sent a clear warning message that's turning heads throughout the MMA community. For the first time in his coaching relationship with Islam Makhachev, Mendes is taking an unprecedented approach to fight preparation. In a recent interview with Submission Radio, Mendes made a stunning admission. "I've never watched a tape for an Islam fight. Never. This is the first time because I respect this guy that much, and he's a puzzle. He's not that easy. I'm telling you, he's not that easy. We'll get him, but he's not that easy, and I have to be confident that we'll get him."
Wow. I never watched tape by Islam. I never. This is the first time because I respect this guy that much, and he's a puzzle. He's not that easy. I'm telling you, he's not that easy. So we'll get him. I believe we'll get him, but he's not that easy.
We'll think about that for a moment. This is the same coach who guided Khabib Nurmagomedov to an undefeated career and has overseen Makhachev's dominant 12-fight win streak. Yet for the first time ever, he's felt compelled to study tape on an opponent. This speaks volumes about the respect and concern the Makhachev camp has for Jack Della Maddalena. Mendez's warning isn't just coach speak. It's a genuine acknowledgement that Della Maddalena presents unique challenges that require special preparation. The fact that a coach of Mendez's caliber is breaking his routine shows just how seriously they're taking this Australian champion.
Islam at any weight does great. Obviously at 170 is going to be an adjustment, but Islam's a big boy, and he's going to settle into the 170 weight class fine. JDM is a freaking terror, man. His hands, his ability to go head and body. It's a tough fight for anybody. I think JDM obviously winning the title, the first title defense is kind of that litmus test for a guy. Does that belt being on your shoulder, around your waist, on your mantle, does it give you the type of confidence where you feel like you're invincible, or does it add a crazy amount of pressure where now you fight not to lose instead of fight to win? So I think that's my perspective on it. But I think Islam at 170 is going to be just as dominant as he was at 155. That's my personal take. He's a hard puzzle to solve, man. And he is a strangler, and he is a strong dude, and his hands are getting much, much better. So we've continued to see him improve over the years, and I think Islam wins at a 170.
But Mendes isn't just issuing warnings, he's also revealing what he believes will be Islam's key to victory at welterweight. According to the veteran coach, Makhachev possesses a physical attribute that even surpasses his legendary teammate Khabib Nurmagomedov. I think the biggest thing on our side is that he's very strong. Very strong. He's super strong. Out of all my lightweights, he is the strongest one out of all of them. I don't recall one lightweight stronger than him. Not even close. He's the strongest.
I think the biggest thing on our side is he's very, very strong. Very
Really?
strong. So, yes, he's super strong. Out of all my lightweights, he is the strongest one out of all of them. I don't recall one lightweight stronger than him. Not even close. He's the strongest. So,
This is a remarkable statement when you consider that Mendes has coached some of the most physically dominant fighters in MMA history, including Khabib. To say that Makhachev is stronger than any lightweight he's ever worked with, including the Eagle himself, is significant praise. But why is this strength so crucial for the welterweight move? Mendes explains, out of everybody I have, he's the guy that has the best opportunity to handle the strength of the bigger guys.
so out of everybody I have, he's the guy that has the best opportunity to be able to handle the strength of the bigger guys.
The size jump from lightweight to welterweight is substantial. Fighters at 170 pounds are naturally bigger, stronger, and more physically imposing. Many doubted whether Makhachev could handle this transition, but his coach's confidence in his pupil's raw strength suggests they've found the key to competing with the welterweight elite. While the Makhachev camp exudes confidence, not everyone in the MMA community is backing the former lightweight champion. UFC analyst and former fighter Din Thomas has made a bold prediction that's sending shockwaves through the sport.
Before we end round one, a few weeks ago, I was calling the fight, and it said, mute DC's mic. And Jack Della Maddalena actually was the one to retweet it. Did you see that?
I saw that. I'm like, yo, man, what's up with this cat?
So what's up with Jack? So I just texted Far Jack. I go, Jack, wrong, bruh. What's up? Why, Jack? Why? And Jack Della wrote back, the champ. The champ just wrote back, my bad, DC. It was a bad take. Listen, so hats up to the boy Jack Della Maddalena for responding to me when I said that. But I said, yo, Jack, what's up, baby? I've always been respectful. He go, my bad, DC. Bad take.
Yeah, man, I don't like that, DC. You know how I feel about these dudes disrespecting the champ.
Thomas is picking Jack Della Maddalena to defeat Islam Makhachev at UFC 322, and his reasoning centers around one key factor, Craig Jones. He's a breath of fresh air, and I'm with Brady on this one. I'm picking him to beat Islam. I think that Craig Jones is the answer to this. I think Craig Jones's approach to MMA and using jiu-jitsu for MMA is the answer.
Yeah. But he's a breath of fresh air, and I'm with Brady on this one. I'm picking him to beat Islam.
Wow.
I'm picking him to beat Islam. I think that Craig Jones is the answer in this. I think Craig Jones's approach to MMA and using jiu-jitsu for MMA.
For those unfamiliar, Craig Jones is a world-renowned Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner who's been working closely with Della Maddalena on his grappling game. Thomas believes Jones has developed a unique approach that could neutralize Makhachev's legendary wrestling. Thomas elaborated, I think the answer lies within Craig Jones's approach of blending in a jiu-jitsu style that these guys aren't familiar with. We've seen it when Alexander Volkanovski fought Islam, and we've seen it when Jack fought Bilal.
I don't think that works. I think the answer lies within Craig Jones's approach of blending in a jiu-jitsu style that these guys aren't familiar with. And we've seen it when Alexander Volkanovski fought Islam, and now we've seen it when Jack fought Bilal.
The analyst predicts a late surge from Della Maddalena. I think Jack loses the first 2 rounds possibly, but I think he comes back and does damage later in the fight. Thomas even suggests that if Della Maddalena can stuff Makhachev's takedowns consistently, Islam might end up getting knocked out in a situation like that.
But the point I'm making is that Bilal he was the 170 champ. Islam's the 155 champ. You know, they're very, very close in their abilities. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Bilal would beat Islam, but he was the champion in the weight class above, and they do have very comparable skill sets. So if Jack was able to beat Bilal, there's a really good shot. This isn't like Islam's going to walk up to 170 and just walk through Jack Della Maddalena. This is a real fight.
The clash of styles is fascinating. Makhachev's world-class wrestling and grappling against Della Maddalena's precise striking and improved takedown defense under Craig Jones's tutelage. One thing is certain, when a coach like Javier Mendez breaks his routine to study tape, and when analysts like Din Thomas are bold enough to pick against a dominant champion, we know we're in for something special. Mark your calendars for November 15th at Madison Square Garden. This is one fight you won't want to miss.
I think Islam Makhachev is a better version of Bilal. I think his striking on the feet is I think it's more. I even think it's easier. The striking on the feet, I think it's easier than Bilal because he's more just he'll stay in one stance. He's more traditional style. But yeah, he's the pound for pound number one. So it's a tough fight. But I guess we'll just watch all these fights again, make a solid game plan, and then just start working at it. From pretty much now, I'm going to start working on ways to beat him, different ways to get back to my feet, stuffing the takedown. But I'm pretty confident I can get this one done. I truly believe I can beat Makhachev. I'm just going to start working at it now. I think I've got the right people around me, the right game plan. Going to make it happen for sure. I think I can Volk beat him in Perth, and I'm going to take him out. And then obviously, yeah, dream come true would be defending this belt in Perth. I think Islam Makhachev is a better version of Bilal. I think his striking on the feet is. I think it's more. I even think it's easier. The striking on the feet, I think it's easier than Bilal because he's more just he'll stay in one stance. He's more traditional style. But yeah, he's the pound for pound number one. So it's a tough fight. But I guess we'll just watch all these fights again, make a solid game plan, and then just start working at it. From pretty much now, I'm going to start working on ways to beat him, different ways to get back to my feet, stuffing the takedown. But I'm pretty confident I can get this one done.
Jack Della Maddalena has fired back with a brutal response to Islam Makhachev's warning message. The Australian champion isn't backing down from the pound-for-pound king, and his confidence is through the roof. Stick around as we break down this developing rivalry that's already heating up social media and could headline one of the biggest UFC events of the year. Let's start with what sparked this verbal warfare. After JDM's dominant performance against Muhammad last weekend, Islam Makhachev wasted absolutely no time sending a message. The lightweight champion immediately took to social media declaring, "Time to become a double champion. Let's go." But it didn't stop there. Makhachev then aimed directly at the new champion with a cold warning. "You are not Volk. I will show you a different level. Keep my belt clean."
Ислам, привет, расскажи, как ты соскучился по боям вообще, сам нет?
Ну нет, еще так не успел соскучиться. Сегодня приехал поддержать наших ребят.
Когда ждать тебя в октагоне? Скоро новости?
Ну, у нас уже на процентов 90 есть договоренность. Наверное, в ноябре.
Now, most fighters might tread carefully when the pound-for-pound number one fighter is calling you out. But Jack Della Maddalena, he's doubling down with supreme confidence. In his latest interview, JDM delivered this brutal response. "I am pretty confident I can get this one done. With the right people and the right game plan, gonna make it happen. I think Volk beat him in Perth, and I am going to take him out."
I think Islam Makhachev is a better version of Bilal. I think his striking on the feet is. I think it's more. I even think it's easier. The striking on the feet, I think it's easier than Bilal because he's more just he'll stay in one stance. He's more traditional style. But yeah, he's the pound for pound number one. So it's a tough fight. But I guess we'll just watch all these fights again, make a solid game plan, and then just start working at it. From pretty much now, I'm going to start working on ways to beat him, different ways to get back to my feet, stuffing the takedown. But I'm pretty confident I can get this one done. I truly believe I can beat Makhachev. I'm just going to start working at it now. I think I've got the right people around me, the right game plan. Going to make it happen for sure. I think I can Volk beat him in Perth, and I'm going to take him out. And then obviously, yeah, dream come true would be defending this belt in Perth.
That's not just confidence, that's a direct challenge to arguably the most dominant fighter on the planet right now. But Della Maddalena isn't just talking trash. He's already formulating his strategy to dethrone the Dagestani destroyer. The Australian champion has revealed some fascinating insights into how he plans to approach this massive challenge. "I think Islam is a better version of Bilal," JDM explained. The striking on the feet, I think, is easier than Belal because he'll stay in one stance. He has more of a traditional style.
I think Islam Makhachev is a better version of Belal. I think his striking on the feet is I think it's more. I even think it's easier. The striking on the feet, I think it's easier than Belal because he'll stay in one stance. He's more traditional style. But yeah, he's the pound for pound #1. So it's a tough fight. But I guess we'll just watch all these fights again, make a solid game plan, and then just start working at it. From pretty much now, I'm going to start working on ways to beat him, different ways to get back to my feet, stuff in the takedown. But I'm pretty confident I can get this one done.
Now that's a bold assessment. While acknowledging Makhachev as the pound-for-pound king, Della Maddalena believes he can exploit certain weaknesses in the Russian's striking game. His plan? We will watch all his fights again, make a solid game plan, then just start working at it. Probably the first step is to go to Wollongong, go to Volks, and see what he reckons. This is where it gets really interesting. Della Maddalena plans to tap into Alexander Volkanovski's experience, the only man to truly test Makhachev in their first encounter. Many believe Volk actually won that initial fight, and JDM is looking to learn from that blueprint. The champion is confident he can stuff the takedowns and believes his size advantage at welterweight will be crucial. I think with the size advantage, I can do good work.
How do you see that fight with him and Islam? I mean, you're giving JDM a lot of...
I'm giving him a lot of credit.
I think does he have the ability to beat a guy like Islam?
Here's where he's going to have to show some improvement. He'll get takedown attempts coming at him very early. This time. The last fight, he didn't have to deal with that when he was fresh. If Islam can start to pressure him early and take him down early, or even just make him wrestle early, he might struggle. We've seen before him get taken down, but I don't know that he's ever felt anything like he's going to feel, because it's not going to be double legs and single leg with Islam. It's going to be him playing with his feet, tripping him, moving around on the octagon side, doing things that he don't recognize as freely.
The stakes couldn't be higher here. Makhachev has officially vacated his lightweight championship to chase this welterweight title shot. That's how badly he wants this fight. Meanwhile, former featherweight champion Ilia Topuria will now face Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight strap at UFC 317. But here's where things get controversial. Della Maddalena's assessment of Makhachev's striking has drawn massive criticism from fans online. Social media has been brutal, with comments like JDM is in way over his head, and the more he talks, the more embarrassing it will be. UFC legend Kenny Florian has even weighed in with concerns about Makhachev moving up in weight, stating, "Every pound counts in this sport. JDM is just a much bigger guy. Those shots he's landing against Belal, if he lands those against Islam who have been knocked out in the past, I don't see him taking it the same way."
The notion that Islam Makhachev, Kenny, is just going to move up a division and somehow dominate someone like Jack Della Maddalena, I just don't see that at all.
Every pound counts in this sport. JDM is just a much bigger guy. And those shots that he's landing against Belal, if he lands those against someone like Islam, who has been knocked out in the past, I don't see him taking it in the same way that Belal can take it. It's going to be interesting. I think with this wrestling, he can get some things done. Again, you're moving around a much larger body than the guys at 55.
That's referring to Makhachev's only career loss back in 2015 when Adriano Martins caught him with a counter hook. Adding another layer to this story is the location. Della Maddalena is pushing hard for this title defense to take place in Perth, Australia. The UFC has already announced a fight night event there later this year, but JDM wants it upgraded to a numbered pay-per-view. They've already got an event sorted for Perth later this year. I'm not sure how hard it would be to change things from a fight night to a pay-per-view, but it will definitely be special if we can make it happen. The champion even wants Alexander Volkanovski on the same card, potentially creating one of the biggest Australian UFC events in history. When asked if Makhachev should come to him as the challenger, JDM was clear. That's how it should work, yeah. He should come to me. Early Vegas odds have already been released with Makhachev as a -200 favorite and Della Maddalena as a +170 underdog, but those odds suggest this fight is closer than many expect. From a technical standpoint, this matchup presents fascinating questions. Della Maddalena's takedown defense was exceptional against Muhammad, one of the best wrestlers in the division, but Makhachev's grappling is on another level entirely. However, JDM does have legitimate advantages: size, reach, and power at 170 pounds. His knockout of Gilbert Burns showed he can end fights with one shot. And if Florian's assessment is correct about Makhachev's chin at the higher weight, that could be the deciding factor.
But I'm sure people are just going to assume that Islam will just take me down and submit me pretty quickly.
Do you think he'll be big enough for 170?
I think he just seems like a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah. You think he'll stick around at 170, or do you think it's just...
I think he'll be one fight, and then he'll probably have to go back down.
Because of how it'll go?
Yeah.
How do you see it playing out?
I think I can take him out. I think... But Bilal really just changes stances a lot, walks forward. But I think if I can have someone that just stays in the same stance, and I don't think, but Islam's the very good striker. I think I could land a lot of shots, and I think I could take him out.
Wow.
Stuff the takedowns. If I get taken down, I believe I can get back to my feet.